started with a simple idea. I wanted to build a house in the country. And Jack was a real estate developer, and I had this idea, and I spent about a year driving around central Ohio looking for places where one might build a house. And came back to where I started, which was New Albany. There was a goal to do something good, not necessarily big. It was really quality focused, and it just kept expanding.
What has happened here in terms of building right out of the countryside, a remarkable place, and understood that this was a community, and this was a community that believed in ideas and education and believed in the richness of culture and learning. This is an experiment that has worked. I don't know whether everybody at the beginning thought it could be what it has become, and would be intrigued to know what they think it might be in the next 25 years. Let me begin with Les and just talk about where did you get this idea?
I think the first purchase of land was 30 or 40 acres, and Jack helped me, negotiate the purchase of land. And then I got to thinking this was a pretty good idea, and I think maybe added another 30.
So Jack, when he came to you and said, can you build me a house in the country, and then wanted you to build a house in the country, when did it get clear to you that this was more than just two houses?
New Albany was not well known. Everybody thought it was really out in the country, and it's really a lot closer to downtown and the airport than people thought, because the location is quite good. So it seemed to me from a real estate standpoint it made sense, so we started assembling more land.
The approach to New Albany was, gee, this is a good idea for me to build a house. Jack thought it was a good idea. Our friends were saying, yeah, it might be a good idea. I said, I think let's get this to scale and see what happens.
Everybody came and brought their discipline to the table, and Les and Jack would challenge us with a chunk of property or a piece of the next thing, and Jerry tried to referee a bit, but ended up being one of the main participants. And it was a great debating society in a way, with a lot of drawings.
It was really an iterative process about style and then streetscape.
And we began to discuss what were the objectives and what were the mechanisms in the landscape.
The time that I was working on New Albany, I was drawing on a large set of ideas that had been tested over time as being the right stuff.
There was, in the tradition of American towns, these tree-lined streets that were part of the glory of the history of American towns, and that Olmsted, for instance, at Riverside and in North Carolina and various other places, had built these beautiful neighborhoods and communities, and it was the streets that held them together.
Jack Robertson designed the clubhouse, and we did that very early. We thought it would be the best clubhouse that anybody in Central Ohio had ever seen.
There was no place in the Midwest at that time, and in the East, that had that kind of mixed use right in the center of things. People would come there and say, my God, where did this thing come from? And so you had an established central place. And if you look at the early photographs of the area, you said, okay, that brought them here. And if you look finally at the whole thing, everything is there. It was about not just the built world, but the natural world. That's why Laurie was so important in this area, is enormously important, and people keep forgetting it. They don't look out and see these huge trees and slopes and think, you can make that better.
Issues like quality, the centrality of schools, the nature of streets, streetscape, the romance of Georgian brick architecture. It made sense to me as a marketer that you could really tell a wonderful story about, kind of a rural countryside, but with the conveniences of suburbia, using these materials. It should be recorded that you had a lot of people that cared, fussing about, shadow lines and coursing of bricks and mailboxes and what should be the diameter of the trees that we're planting.
People have mentioned our physical attributes, but I think a key thing is that there was a vision and they stuck with the vision. And find a way to scale that idea too, because as Les said, he didn't start, Jack didn't start with the idea of this being 12,000 acres. But somehow that original vision was strong enough that it was scalable and flexible enough that all of the things that have changed in 25 years, it's still valid.
We've got architects and we've got landscaping and we've got people coming in and we've got a golf course and we've got a golf club and what are the crucial decisions that had gotten us here? What are the most important things that made that when you look back, that was essential?
From the very beginning, we felt that schools would be crucial. And so after the golf club and the golf course, our next focus was really on the school system. And we wanted this to be a healthy community and an intellectually stimulating community. And so we wanted to build the facilities that would encourage that and say that to people who wanted to live in that kind of environment.
The ambition, whether it's in education, whether it's in public spaces, so many people bought in, and the community would not be what it is today if there weren't so many ideas that sprung up.
There were towns across America that were beautiful with these lovely houses on these tree-lined streets that had a little town center. And they went from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon, and they were very beautiful. And we all feel kind of nostalgic about them because many of them all fell apart. Here, it wasn't we were building the past, we were saying what were those things we all feel so strongly about that gave us this community, that gave America its fabric, you know?
Yeah.
And so we said, that fabric that was so precious, there's a way to make that, and we know how to make it, and we can do it a piece at a time.
The thing that we are all talking about here is places that leave a mark and an imprint in the memory and that you want to go back to. Do that because you've seen things and experienced things there that you don't find normally. And that difference makes all the difference.
We convene 25 years from now. What do we hope New Albany will have become?
I think it can take more layers, more richness, things added, a few things subtracted, but the thing that will be more developed then than we see now will be the core of the commercial, the town center, the mixed use stuff. We'll get some more layers because there'll be more people that can support more will happen there.
I see that as the big change in my mind. And I think that we'll go along with the trend to people living in towns, not just living in a house and coming to a town. So the town will be residential, it will be commercial, it will be civic, all in one place.
I think that the characteristic that will make us strong is that we're resilient. Nothing stays exactly the same over a long period of time. But the question is whether the important bases are strong enough so that change is accommodated and this resilience is built into our neighborhoods.
We've tried to be, collectively, very thoughtful about doing things that were and are of an enduring value. And time will change and cars will be obsolete. Maybe everybody will be riding scooters or horses, I don't know. But I think the basic character, the human state, what people will value about neighbors and friends and community, education, a learning community, a healthy community. You know, that there's some very foundational things that we thought of. We have tried our best to date to balance those things and build them into the place and the culture of the community.
I mean, you find out in conversations like this that people start out with a dream and an idea, but without knowing exactly the steps they're going to take, and it turns out often that the result is much bigger and broader than they imagine, but at its core, it is the same that they imagine. And that's just what Les was talking about. It has to do with values and the kind of people that you appreciate and want to be your neighbor, people that have character and integrity and love ideas and love a sense of family and a sense of community. So when I moved to New Albany, I hope you'll remember this evening. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this. It's a remarkable experiment that has proven to be a remarkable idea and a remarkable fact. Thank you for letting me have this time to share with you.